Let's move on to Module 5, which is about having an acquisition mind and limited research in order to have maximum leverage. But that isn't the title, because our underground syndicate title, which is the mindset I want you to have, is reckon before the strike. That's right, how syndicate prices with speed, moving it with speed, not fear. Up to this point, you've done something that most people don't do. You've chosen a real market. You've sent signals into it, and now responses are coming back. This is the moment where amateurs either freeze or they drown themselves in unnecessary research, trying to feel safe. And I do remember doing that at first. And this is why I'm going to teach you to not do that, because we at the Underground Club do not do that here. Module 5 is where you're going to learn how professionals think about valuation, and not as an economic exercise, but as a weaponized decision process. Because here's the truth that nobody tells you. You're not trying to be right here. What I want you to be is profitable. And those are not the same thing. Let's go back to thinking about the core rule of the underground. In this business, 95% of the people that you contact will never sell to you. That means your edge is not perfection. Your edge is speed, discipline, and consistency. So inside the Fifth Avenue Underground Club, the rule is simple. Actually, this just made me smile. I remember once reading this book on acquisitions, and it was very technical in nature, and now the sentence kind of stood out because it didn't make much sense. It said something like, do only the reckoning science required to make a profitable, defensible offer. And I remember thinking, what in the world does that even mean? And it was something like, do only the reckon science to, and I thought, okay, here's what they really mean. Because it went into the rest of the page trying to explain what I guess that title of that page was. Let me reword it in a much better way. Investigate enough to protect yourself, not enough to paralyze yourself, then make the offer. Another way to say it, gather only the information necessary to structure a safe, profitable offer. And then it's as simple as acting decisively before the opportunity disappears. So your goal in early due diligence is not perfect. It's risk containment. Confirm the land. Confirm if there's upside you can control. Let's structure it in the agreement and move quickly. If you're waiting for certainty, that's how deals get lost. We do not research to feel comfortable. We research to reach a strike. Anything beyond that is hesitation, despised as intelligence. Let's go into the reality of due diligence, because most beginners believe this myth that value is this precise number. I used to think that as well, but it's not. Value is a band. And so, since I'm teaching you how to do this as professionals, we understand this intuitively, right? Because if land is selling in a given area of 42,000 to 54,000, then your job is not to argue whether it's worth 47,300 or whether it's 49,800. Your job is to simply ask one question. Can I buy this far enough below the band that small errors don't matter? Because when you buy deep enough, precision is now going to become irrelevant. This is why the underground does not drown in spreadsheets. We operate in ranges, not fantasies. The only three questions that matter, I want you to think about this. Every piece of land that we evaluate has to answer three questions. First is, what of similar parcels have sold for? We're not looking at whether it was listed or whether it was hoped for or what it was sold for. Second thing, are there back taxes that are owed? That is important because taxes come off your offer, and they do every time. Third thing, does the value band support the profitable offer? It's either yes or a no. That's it. If those three boxes are checked, then I'm going to recommend you move forward. If they're not, then let's move on because everything else is just going to come later after that contract is accepted. Why don't we move to what I call the three websites of power? Because every serious operator uses the same look. Number one is Zillow, equivalent sold data engine. Because what you want to see, you want it to show you behavior, not opinions. And what you're looking for is patterns. Similar acreage, similar use, maybe even similar price ranges. Once you see clustering, you found your strike zone. Let me move to what I refer to as the offer calculator. That is your tactical lever. The offer calculator is not a rule book. I want to talk on that. That is your tactical lever, that offer calculator. And it's not a rule book. It is a dial. When values are higher, you can afford to offer more. Well, here's what I wanted to say. Okay, while values are low, your discounts must be deeper to justify the effort. And here's the part most people miss. You control the aggression level. You want more acceptances? Raise your percentage. If you want sharper margins, then lower it. The calculator is going to give you consistency, not necessarily obedience. And remember, you are the operator, so the tool is going to serve you. Let me also talk with you about how speed is profit. And I want to make this clear for you. If you spend 30 minutes just looking over one property, then you're going to fail. Not because you're wrong, but because you'll never scale. I want to teach you how to be that elite operator. You want to look at a property within 3 to 5 minutes. As an elite operator, here's what you're going to do. Ignore outliers. Ignore emotional sailors. Ignore the need to double check everything one more time. Reason why I say that is because the goal is not to win this deal. It's to send 50 offers so that you can spend real time on the 3 that come back signed. Time is capital. Capital and velocity is leverage. Let me summarize here the syndicate. By the end of Module 5, now you possess the discipline of the limited due diligence. Maybe even the ability to you learned the discipline of the due diligence. You learned real value bands. You learned about the 3 data sources that really matter and the logic behind that offer calculator. And you now have the confidence to now move without hesitation. The operational speed that's required to scale. That is what you have. So you're no longer guessing and you're no longer stalling. You are pricing things like an operator.